A rainy, nasty Ohio weather day. They missed yet again. Horrible, the weather apps. But we are here. A little soggy. But we are here to talk the Bengals defense. Joe Burrow's frustrations. Colby Young. The Reds sit on their ass, but they're winning. Can't take that away from them. We saved the bets for last. Some preseason picks on rarebreedscouting.com and much more next on the 34 edition of the Brotherhood of the Bengal.
Brotherhood of the Bengal. Brotherhood of the Bengal. In the river fog we gather, striped and bound by autumn air. Hands on hearts we share the stories of the claws and of the...
What is up, Stevie Boy, on this nasty day?
Yeah, it's been a nasty day. We was at work and kind of come upon us. We heard some thunder and this and that, so I was like, "Well, I've had enough of this." So I just went inside and sat in there, waited on my 2:30 meeting, and got done with the 2:30 meeting. I was out the door, brother.
Pretty nasty. Kind of came, they had a slight chance of rain, and then boom. It didn't rain quite as long as they changed it to, thankfully, but there was water everywhere, water in here, but we got it cleaned up pretty decent.
Yeah, we're good.
On the TV. So, I'm good. Thanks for asking. I was at Bengals camp yesterday.
He was.
If you wasn't the kind of guy that wasted all his days, you could have been at Bengals camp.
Could have been there anyway. Work was stupid.
It's a little bit different. Not to sound like a ticket snob here, Stevie Boy, but when it's an open practice, it's a whole lot different than when we were there as season ticket, which we will be in a week from Saturday, right? Whole lot different. I don't know if we're going to make the family night thing or not. They're giving storms for that as well. I may not. We'll see. Probably not. But whole lot different crowd, more packed, a little crazier, but a good day of practice. Before I get into what happened at practice, Stevie Boy, I want to mention one thing. They're not having practice. I'll throw this little disclaimer in. The Bengals are not having practice to entertain the fans. I get that and agree with that. No other team is either. Here and there, maybe. But if you're going to open it up to the public, season ticket holders, or anything else, don't practice on the field for 45 minutes where nobody can see you. You have a 2-hour practice, and all the defense and offense when they were doing ones versus ones and all that's on the other field. Like, why would you?
What's the point?
You would think somebody, the Bengals sometimes, man, that's what I've said. It's not just the Bengals. It's the NFL as a business, right? Like, businesses think clearer than that, right? If they're doing something for people, customers, they think, hey, we got to satisfy customers here to some degree. To do it, like, when we went to where they have joint practices, right? All the stuff you want to see is on the other field. Like, so they're not doing it to hide anything. They just play on the other field. Like, they're creatures of habit. That's part of it. So drill here's here, drill here's here. This part's of the stations, so they stay over there. So we got to see a good bit of the defense, and we got to see some one-on-one stuff with the receivers and all that. But you get up on top of the bleachers, you can still see that other field, but it's not close, right? It just doesn't make any sense. You agree?
I agree.
I don't understand it.
I remember before the Joe Burrow era, I went down and watched Andy and those guys, and they did 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s on that side. I've got a video of Joe Mixon his rookie year taking it to the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I took the kids down there that year. And for some reason, they just said, no, we're not going to do it now. And that's why the first one we went to that I'd been to in 2 or 3 years, getting away from Andy Dalton, going to Joe, I was a little surprised that it was like, okay, like we're not going to be able to see anything.
It doesn't make any sense. Again, you're not there to entertain the fans, but if you're going to have them in there, you got to appease them a little bit, right? I took a day off. We drive for a while, right? And you're still dealing with all the people to get in there. I mean, it's hot. And you got to think, I just don't understand. I don't know who's in charge of this stuff. It's just like, I don't blame the coaches. I think the upper management people say, hey, listen, if you're going to have open camp practice on this field. They're the same fields anyway. It just doesn't make any sense. But the common theme reigns. So, just watching, you've been there before. And, on a quick note, like I've been to the Bengals practice many times in Georgetown, Kentucky, many times in Wilmington, Ohio, man. It's so different now. Those practices were so physical. And the stuff you see there, you're seeing like borderline Oklahoma drills, and you're seeing more football. Now you're seeing a lot of calisthenics, and it's just, and it's not the Bengals, it's the whole league, right? And that's why they're not, the quality of football is really low weeks 1 through 3 probably, because they're not really getting ready for this. Those days they were getting ready for the season, right? It's just a different animal. But the common theme is there, and even when they're doing just like the drills through the the tackling drills, bucket drills, all those kind of drills, this is a different defense, man. I'm telling you. Cook in person there, he looks totally different than the safeties we've seen in the past. Like, he's an animal. Seeing Sexy Dexy in person, oh my gosh, he's huge. I didn't see Jonathan Allen. Maybe I missed him. I didn't read anything about it. But it was despite not being as physical practice, very, very competitive, a lot of wolfing. I'm cool with it. See the defense like that. Your thoughts, Stevie Bowie? Pretty neat.
Yeah, I want him to be physical. I want him to wolf. I want him to like have that mentality from day one. I said it last week. The physical part of football has lacked for a good while, right? Yeah. Especially early on. That's why you see, I think, a lot of these teams used to be like, if you start 0-2, 0-3, you were almost done. Well, here this last 7, 18 years, you kind of see some of these teams maybe not necessarily make the playoffs, but they always creep back in it, right? And I think that's part of it. It's just that they get their legs under them, they start to learn who they are, and they make a run. The schedule sometimes can be favorable, and then all of a sudden they're back in it. And which is that's good for the league, I guess. You get that underdog mentality, blah blah blah. But as far as Cook, Dexter, and all them guys, have not been down there in person yet. Won't be long. I will be, but just the videos that I see, which has been a lot, and I appreciate all the videos that are on social, because there is a lot of them. Mm-hmm. He's been dominating. Yeah, he's just absolutely been dominating. Cook, I believe he had a pick 6 to end practice yesterday.
I'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, their mentality on defense, I think it's going to completely change. I think they're going to be a physical defense. I really do. I think Al's got the pieces that he needs now. Kind of leading into this is I've heard at multiple sources that they are going to tackle Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. They're actually going to do tackle football.
Really?
Absolutely. It's the first time I can remember in the exact era. Yeah. So yes.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So they're off today. So it'll be tomorrow. Yeah.
Hopefully no injuries.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they said Thursday, Friday, Sunday, because they're off Saturday because 2 in a row.
Yep. Saw BJ Hill on the field, that's behind us when we look around, watch the event. He was over on the bike getting ready. So he's looks like he's pretty close, I think, from what they say. He looked fine when I saw of him. So Luke talked to Money Mac about his golf game. Hell of a golfer, evidently.
I think he's like a 1 or 2 handicap.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So very impressive there. So you could probably make some money in that as well. So we're going to switch to what the defense looks like stylistically. And I think it's going to be a hybrid. I don't think it'll be a 4-3 or a 3-4. But a 3-4, we're going to talk about that real quick. Learned a lot about that over the past 6 months with the scouting academy, right? You know what you know coming into it, but you get into more of the nuances. So Al Golden's walking, he's got that limp, right? But he's walking behind us. And I said, hey, Al, you going to 3-4? He said, we'll see. So kind of cool. So some of the things, like the things, you've heard Stevie Boy and I talk about it before, the techniques. So quick way to remember that. The even number techniques just means your helmet to helmet. The odd number is you're off to the side. And if they go off on the inside, for example, it's an I. So you'll hear 4 technique would be out to the tackle, the offensive tackle. You're lined up head to head, but if they go inside just slightly, it's a 4-eye. You heard Dan talk about it last week from the Scouting Academy, just all the nuances of what that means from a 3 technique standpoint. So if you hear a 2, they're head up. But if you hear a 2-0, that just is the linebackers 5 yards off lined up head to head. So just remember that. If you hear a 2-0, you don't hear it too much. That's what it is. Like a stacked front just means the defensive lineman is lined up head to head and the linebacker is exactly in line with it. And all that sounds like who cares, right? It doesn't matter. But a 4-eye matters. So if they're running a gap system where they're coming in like zone and you're off to the side, they can get inside of you and block you easily. Whereas if you're head up, it's tougher to do, right? So then you can go either way. There's advantages to both depending on what type of offense you're playing, that sort of stuff. So 3-4, what you're going to hear a lot of over the next few weeks if they do switch, and I think they will play more 3-4 than they do 4-3. I'm always, as long as I can remember, I think a 3-4 is a better defense. Since they went to spread, when the power run games, I think the 4-3 was better. And Buddy Ryan's 46 defense has nothing to do with the numbers. That was a player's number. Then you got 5 guys, and you got a 0 technique there too. So those were more prevalent defenses back then. Bill Arnsparger, who you've heard me talk about, he's from Paris, Kentucky, played it with the Miami Dolphins, legendary defensive coordinator. Of course, Belichick, Parcells with the Giants, and then, Pittsburgh, who we hate. But to me, I've always said this, the problem is finding the personnel. The one person, that's it. But the rest of it's easier than a 4-3, and you don't typically pay them as much. So you can get, and you're not rushing upfield, giving up lanes as much. So a traditional 3-4, you have 2 gap responsibility. So we'll use Dexter's 0 technique. That means he's lined up straight on the center. He's looking at the center, right? Head to head. So traditionally that 3-4 has got a gap, both side responsibility. More so now it's a gap and a half where they go one. He might be responsible for 1 gap and half the next time. He could be 2. Hurts your pass rush from that player, but that guard's got to come down and help. They can't get the second level. What does that do for linebackers? Yeah. Huge. So, 3, you'll hear, we'll get into front. We'll do it some other time, 4-3 fronts. But a 3-4 is typically a tight formation, which is 4-eye, so the inside shoulder I just mentioned. A stack of 4T. This is where your ends are at, right? And an Okie, which is a 5 technique. That means he's all the way out to the tackle, right? Past the tackle.
Almost like a wide.
Yep. Not quite wide 9. And then, so you got that's where the 3 linemen, but that nose tackle is what makes or breaks a 3-4.
Yes.
And you think, no offense, Dexy, you think of the big fat guys, Vince Wilfork, Teddy Washington, was that guy, Sam Adams, and that's traditionally what they are. But Aaron Donald played that, but Aaron Donald's Aaron Donald. Mm-hmm. So the advantage of that is, the theory is like old school and still applies. You're putting your best pass rusher on a center. Think about a center, the hands down, trying to block somebody. They're going to struggle with it. A center's going to struggle with a great pass rusher. By and large, they usually don't have to worry about it because it's not there because nobody's playing 3-4. It's a 3T, technique, and you got the run rusher. He's 2, maybe a 1 technique, but they're still not all on the center. So it creates confusion with the guards, right? What it does for linebackers, you'll have the will linebacker, which is Eboué Mafe, right? So he didn't see how it's what he'll do here. Shamar could play that. Shamar, though, when you go 3 linemen, I think their plan was for him inside as a defensive end, Richard Seymour type. Think about it. He's got the long range,
size.
So you can, and Allen can play in there as an end as well. So you can, and BJ certainly. So you can rotate, and then you got the Green Bay Slayton guy that can play as a backup as the nose tackle, right? So Dexter can play that nose, so that frees everything up. Miles Murphy can play the edge, more as the run-setting linebacker on the other side. Are they truly linebackers by how you think about it? No, but they are. It's a Sam on that side, the Will on the other. Then you got the Mike backer who's going to be responsible for coverage. That's Carter. You'll hear him call what they call it, punch or whatever linebacker. There's different names for it, now. But that's the guy that's going to chase everything, right? He's going to chase the run game. So, you think about the linebackers last year, what they were tasked with, running the seam, their backs turned, head turning, couldn't read anything anyway. This is everything's in front of you. Run and react. I mean, you got to read it quick. And I think that question is still there, right? Can they do it? I think Knight can. But they're mostly going to be covering the flats and things like that instead of way downfield. Because, they're going to have – it's still going to be a nickel personnel. And that could be Duggar, right? Think about that. So now you're the 3-4 changes it. You heard Golden talk about the apex. What the apex is, that's a newer term, I guess. But you think about Mafe. That just means he's on the edge outside of the tackle and there's nobody between him and the slot receiver, for example. So he's that apex, right? So he could drop or he could pass rush. So now the drops are going to make more sense because it's a 3-4. And the blitz packages you can run from a 3-4 against a spread, as an offense, the challenges are who we blocking. How you calling it out? Because you don't know. Think about Pittsburgh in their heyday,
especially when
man.
you're nose up, because you're not leaning one way or the other on the eye.
It's tricky. You think about those Pittsburgh teams are really good 3-4, and the Patriots. It's tough. They didn't know where the blitz is coming from, right? And you go back and look at that Rams game. The Patriots were not playing 3-4 there, but they kind of switched into a heavier front. And they come out of it. McVay was confused, right? So when you're an exotic defense like that, it's tough, And I think. So what's the disadvantages of a 3-4? If you get running the ball real good up, you got to have the nose tackle, right? And teams try and don't have that big nose tackle, and they just get killed on the A gaps, right? Just smothered on you. That's not what happened with Lawrence in there, right? So I think it's a great change, and I think you find again, Pittsburgh's the easy example here, and I think Cassius Howe fits this. We talked about it. You look at Highsmith and Herbig. Nobody really wants those guys. The R. Mason Thomas, they all fall because of size limitation. And 3-4, they're pretty damn good. And that's what Cassius Howe fits that role. Yeah, absolutely. And they can still play the run, TJ Watts. But, it's also those three linemen are going to be, hand down, right? 3-point stance. Whereas the outside guys, Boye and them are going to be a 2-point. So they're up and running. Like, I think LT, that's the easiest one to see. So you're up like that. They don't know what you're going to do. And you got to be athletic, right? Because, LT was athletic and Maffei's pretty athletic. So, I think that's the route they go, and I'm all for it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think the curious thing will be, so last year the Giants really went to moving Dexter to more of a 3-eye. And I think that and his injury was a big reason that his stats were down, but not necessarily him getting to the quarterback. I mean, the pressures were there. I mean, the rate was there. He just wasn't getting the sacks. But when he's gets any time, he can be one-on-one. And that's the factor. It's getting, when you put 5 guys in there, and a lot of times when he's head up on the center, that makes the other guys, whether you be 3-eye or 4-eye, you don't know exactly who to pick up. Or if you do know, it makes certain players have to pick up on tight ends, have to do defensive ends. Protections change because of the amount of guys you have on the line of scrimmage. A disadvantage is play action. You get 5 guys rushing. Guess what? You've got one linebacker with some safeties. So there is, but so what all has to come? One is you got to have really good vision, right? And 2, you got to get pressure, because if you get pressure, then like what Scott said, all them the dumps and dinks, the 5-yarders, those things will be really all they have time for if that pressure can get there. So when you go to games or you're watching TV and you're saying, I don't know why Catch is dropping there, I don't know why Boy, you might as well get used to it.
They're going to do it now, for sure.
That's the kind of roles those are guys are in. And Murphy is also going to be doing that. Now, whether he has that skill set, he says he's up for it.
He's going to be more of an edge setter on that, because that side of the ball, that's where the linebacker set it.
Another thing I wanted to get to, too, you mentioned TJ Slayton, is I think they're going to do, and I've seen multiple clips of this week, I seriously think what they're going to do is that if Dexter isn't on the nose, or if he's on the nose straight up on the center, and he is that other 3-eye, I think they'll show what they call like a quarter, will be where Dexter is basically all that's on the 3-eye part is like his left shoulder.
Yeah.
And then all that is on the right side will be Slayton. So basically what you're doing is you're almost covering like a gap and a half. So when
good luck moving short yardage, they're both going to be in.
First downs, short yardage, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and then when you put BJ in there, I think I seen a stat. BJ and Dexter were in the top 10 of most double teamed in the league last year. But who else are you going to double team if with that defensive line they had last year? Well, you might as well double team BJ. Yep. He's the only one that can hurt you on the defensive line. Yep. So now he's going to get a lot of singles. Slayton can get a lot of singles. Allen's going to get a lot of
I'll
singles
still play.
because they're going to double
Dexy.
Dexy.
They're going to combo block him or double. Try to get. So the big role of that nose tackle is to take on 2 blocks.
Yes,
When you
that's
think about
almost the role.
Donald. Yeah, Donald, when they didn't get him, good luck. But when they did double him, it's just hold him. They bend the knee and put their knee on the ground. That's one of the more amazing things watching film.
Yeah.
They take the block on and bend their knee and get the knee to the ground and just hold right there. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I've seen Donald do it against much bigger men. 2 guys on him just hold the ground. They're both tied up with his knee on the ground.
But that's his job. That's what, and that whatever was going on right then, that was his job to occupy 2 guys,
freeze the backers. So
it
those
sure does.
A gap, okay, your A gap looks free. Dexter takes up 2 blocks. Knight comes flying through the A gap. It's not there.
And
right?
if you're in a 4-3, what that does with a double team, now you're 1-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that linebacker is free. They're in even room for a guy to get up because you're doubling on Dexter. So there's just so many possibilities. I think it's probably going to be more like a 60-40. 65-35 split, 3-4 to 4-3.
They're going to be blitz heavy, man.
Yeah,
blitz
because I
heavy.
don't like Dexter in that 3-eye. I like him on that. When I seen those numbers and seen how he does when he can get those 1-on-1s, I mean, come on. I dare you.
He's on the nose. Good luck.
He has absolutely been giving Ted, a handful.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing him around, making him look like a rag. And Ted is no little dude.
No.
And just making him look silly. And probably an average, slightly above average center. We all know Ted's, nothing, to write home about. But, he's a good enough center. He's making him look silly.
Yep. He's dominating and making it tough for the quarterback to see over, as Joe said a few days ago. Good stuff. Before we get to Joey B, show off our new koozies. Show off what you're drinking.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Well, what I dranking. Our Norm Cincy Light. We're still waiting on the phone call, the email, the text.
I had to fight to get that today. Didn't have any cooler local establishment. I said, you guys need a new beer vendor. Well, we get them. It's just they sell out as soon as we get here. I was like, well, you're not getting enough. And then he found some non-cold. Right. So I just bought a case and put it in. But come on, man.
Yeah, okay, so how about you sell an extra 40 cases?
He said they limited them. I don't know, as big a chain as that is. I wouldn't think so.
I don't know why you do that.
It doesn't make any
koozies,
sense.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Got them at, I can't remember where I got that at.
Pretty cool.
I got that at Rally House. Yeah, Rally House.
Yeah, great place.
Oh, they got a ton of stuff in there.
I go in there, I can spend $1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They're just as good as Fanatics, and it's right there beside. Price-wise,
Yeah.
You don't get some of the discounts, but less high state stuff. Yeah, I do too. All right, let's talk about Joey B. So Burrow. So we're walking around the side of the practice trying to get around everybody to get out. And as we're watching, we see him throw. Actually, we saw him throw the pick before that, right before we got him walked. So Cook picks it. They called it a pick 6. I don't know if he would have got tackled or not. It's hard to see. It looked like he would have, maybe not. But he picks it, and that's what Justin and I both said. That's how quick the NFL is. It looked like the guy was open. But he's getting pressured. I think it was Mafe that time. And he throws it, and Cook's gone, right? And, I mentioned he looks like a different dude out there walking around as a safety. So the part I want to emphasize here, Joe was pissed. You could see it immediately. He's mad. He's walking, steaming. He's pretty serious that day. He joked around. You didn't see a whole lot even before that because the defense has been handing it to him. Part of it is they're just doing stuff so different. There's no game prep for that. They don't know what they're doing from a 3-4, right? They're trying to call it out. They're lost. It'll help them in the season because, defense, they don't all play 3-4. Very few do, but they change things up exotic, that 3-2 and all that stuff. It's a lot different nowadays. So what I noticed, though, after we're over there, and he just takes off and starts running sprints, throws his helmet down, and he's running like angry sprints. The look on his face, he's pissed. Boom, boom. Then he sits there for a while and runs more sprints. I love it.
I do too.
He was pissed.
And so we got to take the defense for kind of a, like a grain of salt because there's so much that some of the telltale signs, like the offense is working so much under center, which they usually don't do. Yeah. It's like every play you watch, it's like Joe's under center.
A lot of runs.
Play action, play action boot, which are not working, by the way, because they're not. So in training camp, if it's me and I'm a defensive end and I'm on the opposite side and they act like they're going to hand off that way, okay, or they hand off that way, yeah, I'm going to follow the play, but I'm going to let my teammates that are on that side kind of dictate how that play goes, and I'll have backside, right?
Yep.
So all they're doing, they're not honoring the play action.
Nah,
You know what I mean? They're basically just saying, okay, and watching. And as soon as Joe comes around,
they're in attack mode.
They're in attack mode. There's no, it's not like a game to where you may really drive down on that backside.
Especially if he's got 2 or 3 runs in a row, right?
Right. And you're not tackling. So as soon as it gets touched, they're going to blow the whistle.
Yeah.
So why chase that play other than maybe some film thing you don't want to get yelled at?
Yep.
But other than that, why not just stay on that backside, wait for the play action? If the play action's not there, then drive down on the backside. So it's like you got to kind of take that for what it is. But I still think they have played really well. And I think offensively they've struggled with his play action, struggled on the center.
Some drops too, man. Jamar dropped a long one.
Yeah.
Right there on it.
I think he dropped the back shoulder yesterday too, they said.
Yeah, he dropped one that was right to him.
There was one play where Joe hits T deep for a touchdown. If you look at that, if that's like full game speed, I'm not sure he gets that ball off. You know what I mean? It's like little things like that. Yeah. Sure, pretty good throw, good catch, whatever. But you don't think, or maybe Joe keeps going farther toward the sideline instead of stopping. Who knows how game scenario goes? But yeah, so far the defense is winning training camp.
So they did one-on-one drills. I posted a video, wide receivers versus corners. Did you see the one I posted?
Yeah.
Jamar got Turner bad. So bad. There wasn't any trash talk. Turner just went over and slapped his hand.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He schooled him on that. All he did was he came out and he just did that little shoulder and he gone.
That was it.
That was a big gainer, right? So, but overall, I thought even in those drills, which are tough drills, they're made for the receiver to win, right?
Sure.
They hung in there, man. That was a great play there, but most the defenders are right there.
Yeah.
Like Fig and all those guys are playing better.
I heard DJ Obby's had a good camp.
He looked good. He did last year too, though. So you just never know.
And he didn't have a horrible year. He
He's
guarded
athletic,
a lot of the tight ends. You know,
he's super athletic. Then number 86, Colby Young. It's not Noah Fan out there for you guys to go to camp. He made another catch or two. Like, you just never know. I mean, he looks the part, right? He is long and lanky, long strider. He went up and got it. I just think, as I mentioned to you off the air, like, he's similar to, like, Tinsley and Yoshi, really. Well, there's just not a whole lot of separation. But you throw it up to him and he goes, gets it. The difference between him and I think Tinsley's hands are better. But the difference is he's a bigger athlete, right? He's got a little Pickens look to him a little bit. George Pickens, not Carl. You never know. I mean, maybe I just don't see him being consistent enough, but I hope he is. And then like Yoshi, I didn't see anything to him.
That's what everybody said. So there's just not.
He's nothing. He just didn't do anything.
There's no flash. There's no flashes. There's no like, oh wow. I think Flacco hit him deep once. I think. I mean, there's been a few here and there, but yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. And as far as Colby goes, like. So I got a theory on how they're going to do this year with the third wide receiver. I don't think they're going to have a third wide receiver. I think there's going to be packages for their third wide receiver, which could be whether it's T and Colby, T and Tinsley. I know Tinsley does a lot of motions and stuff. He's a really good blocker. So, like, they could do some stuff where he comes across and then chips backside, things like that. I think that's what they're, especially if they do more under center, I think they're going to have packages, not necessarily say 1, 2, 3. I don't think it's going to be like that. I really don't. Now, I don't know how much Colby's going to get, but I'm just saying, because you got to remember Gesicki too, because even if they call it 12 personnel, it really won't be.
He's a slot.
He'll be the slot.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's going to be things that they can do. It wouldn't surprise me if you don't see like Jamar in a slot like 30% of the time this year.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise it with all them big weapons on the outside, because Gesicki can play on the outside too. Yep. So, I mean, there's different things they can do, especially if they do a bunch of motions with Jamar to actually be able, because there was one play, what's the day? Wednesday, maybe Monday, where Jamar went in motion and he went to the backfield But when he went to the backfield, he stayed on the right side of Chase Brown.
Yeah.
So you basically have Burrow
Kind of
and then two
pistol
running
setter.
backs.
Yeah.
Well, then when he hiked it, they did this. So Jamar went inside, Chase went outside. Well, Burrow got pressure up the middle.
Yeah.
So he tried to hit Jamar, and it was almost picked off.
Yeah.
So you can do all that shit you want, but if you get pressure up the middle, all that can go out the window.
Yep. It's what Rex Ryan, if you watch any of his older videos, he talks about his dad designed the 46 because the quarterback's worst enemy is pressure up the middle. It's weird that teams don't mimic that. I mean, but you got to have the personnel, right? You got to have that nose tackle,
and there's just that's not in the league.
They don't
anymore.
College doesn't do it, right? No. Like we talked about with Dan, like you're not just seeing those big guys that just do certain roles like that, right? It's all about flash and speed, right? So, but being in the 34, there will be faster. But I think the same thing applies to the offense. The mentality is we want to be more physical. I agree with them, and I want that as well, but it's a slippery slope. Whether you like it or not, and I tend to not like it, if Eric Hall is healthy, you're going to see a whole lot of him.
Yep.
Which means they slow down offense, which we talked about. That might be okay given their defense is much better. But you're going to see some frustration where they're slowly taking the ball down the field or maybe even punting instead of just unleashing, right? It's hard to watch sometimes. I think that's what we're going to get into with chasing them. Like I said, though, if their defense is as good as what we think it can be, that's probably a better style to play. It's less risky. You don't turn the ball over. You don't get short field. But, man, it's tough to take the ball out of Burrow, T, and Jamar's hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And then I don't care how much you do something. We all know for the past 5 years what their offenses look like. Shotgun, very rarely under center. Most of their play action comes from shotgun. You don't get the kind of bite off those linebackers that way. So when you think about that, I don't care how much you do something. If you go away from it, it's still going to diminish.
Yeah.
Like if you're putting 70% of your time in all these new plays, your new formations, what you want to do, you just ain't going to be able to push a button in week 1 or week 2 and go, okay, now let's go 4 or 5 wide, or let's do this, do that, and be able to be the same team. I don't think they'll be able to do that, not because of Joe, just because of the rest of the team.
Just reality.
It's just reality. I don't think they can do it. So that's why I think it needs to be a mixture. And maybe that's all that. I mean, we're 6 days in, guys.
Yeah, it's
you know
early.
what I mean. It's early. They're trying to get it in. Then maybe as camp goes on, preseason games, you'll start seeing more of a variety, and then kind of letting Joe eat a little bit.
You think about it, like every year they start out slow. And how many times you heard me say it? How does this team not have an identity offensively? And you'll hear them say it. We're figuring out our identity. You got 58 veterans, right? They do it every year, dude. They did it last year. Yeah. And then about week 4, they're like, well, I guess we are just a spread throw it team. Let's get back. And then usually they're 1-3 or, like I think they should be more, I said it for a few years now, more like the Colts style under Dungy, where it's throw the ball everywhere, get a lead, then unleash on defense, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what but if they try to be overly balanced, it's going to hurt them. I guarantee it. I'll say it right now.
I think it will too.
It's not a good thing.
That's kind of where my comment, why I brought it up, because I'm really scared that if they lean into this too much, it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll do it week 1 or week 2, but if you spend 70% of your camp doing it, how rusty is the other stuff going to be? I don't care if these guys have been in the system for 4 or 5 years or not. Not all of them have.
Yeah.
And if you're doubling T, if you're doubling Chase, and those guys ain't getting open, then guess what? You got Eric All, you got Gesicki, you got these other guys that haven't been in it for 5-6 years. I just don't know how comfortable they'll be and how precise they'll be with the offense.
Yeah. And they were pretty much saying that we're working all this new stuff. I mean, all the players, coaches have said it.
Dude, it's all that. Like I
just don't think it. I just think you got to wrinkles certainly. Just like what Dan said about Seattle defense, they got to change it because everybody's working to get it right. I understand that, but offense is a lot different when you've got
the kind of
the modern day Jerry Rice and the modern day Joe Montana. They didn't. Oh, we need to be this. We need to be. You are who you are, and you're great at it, right? Come stop us. Let's see you stop us. Like I don't know why Zach does that, but he's done it every year. This is not something new. Every year we're going to do this, and then they come out slow, methodical. Joe struggles. They always put the finger on him. I think it's more of they're all trying to do something that they're not really good at. They're just not built to be a power team.
Nope.
Mims is big, but even he's not real physical. Like, and I mean, he is kind of, but Fairchild kind of is, I think. But it's more about space and just dropping back and just let him pick you apart, right? You got to run the ball.
Why can't they? And I don't get this, like, because it doesn't happen much anymore. Why can't you be under center, which still gives the defense okay, what exactly is going to happen here? Because you still might get the play action, whether you get the play action or not.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Why can't you just do straight, more drop back passing? Because you still have your eyes forward.
Yeah, he struggles with it. Other than that Niners game, which we've talked about, I don't even know how many years ago I've mentioned so many times. They came off the bye.
23.
They came off the bye, went to San Francisco, a very good Niners team, and just lit their ass up with play action, right? But I just don't think he's very good at it. And he's not the only one. I mean, there's how many quarterbacks can do?
There's not very many. That's why Jared Goff is so good in that offense, because, in my opinion, he's one of the better under center.
He is,
in the league.
Yep.
And I think that's why Detroit excels. But I think if you asked him to sit back and throw it 50 times in shotgun, 4 wide, I think he would struggle.
He'd turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And Brady was good at both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brady's good at everything because he was so meticulous and driven like a wild man, right? So we'll see. I don't know.
It's fascinating, really, to think about what they could be if this does work. Holy crap. Because then if you actually can scheme guys open instead of just saying go beat your man one-on-one, if you can actually do some stuff to get some easy plays, some easy button plays.
They never really get easy
that they never get. But if you can do that, holy crap, dude.
Yeah, it's what we talked about. Everything's, even when they put up a lot of points, I mean, it's what a catch or what a throw. It's not like
if they don't get that, they stall.
McVay he'll get Stafford a ton of easy plays.
Mm-hmm.
So will the guy LaFleur in Green Bay for Love, right? Who misses a lot of those high level that everybody goes nuts over offensive coaches. They usually get their quarterback. They're quarterback friendly, and I don't know that this is. It's friendly because they got Chase and T. It's not friendly if they're not on there, right? So, the bottom line is their offense is going to be really good, but I suspect, and I hope I'm wrong, that they come out and struggle, and I think it could cost them early. This early point of the season is it's always important. But it's really important how the schedule plays out this year, right? We know Mayfield, a lot of controversy in Tampa Bay with Mayfield's contract, which is great. But he always gives the Bengals problems too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That offense at Tampa is going to be good enough. And it's going to be a close game, I would think, right? So they're going to have to score some points. So it's going to be interesting, like you said. I'm pretty excited about it, as are you. Preseason schedule, Stevie Boy, is coming quick. The Bengals play a week from, tomorrow?
Yep.
Versus the aforementioned Detroit Lions. We will have a guest on next week to talk about the Detroit Lions. Perfect timing. What they're doing. He knows the game very well. We'll talk Bengals and Lions. Play Thursday night at 7. I may actually go to that game. We'll see. I will go. You in? August 22nd. The Bears. If it holds true, a lot of starters will play that game. I want to be at that game. And then they're on the road week 3 in a game that won't matter at all, probably. They probably won't play anybody August 28th, 8 o'clock at Philly, the Eaglets. So we move on, Stevie Boy. We're going to save the bets for last. Anything else you want to mention on the Bengals preseason schedule as they get ready for the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost game week.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I think the Hall of Fame game is probably this weekend, right? So
I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you get that going on. I don't really care about it anymore.
I could care less.
I used to kind of care, but I don't anymore.
It just kind of gives you
gives you that feel, right? Just seeing practice even. So let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds real quick before we transition to the last segment, the bet segment, Stevie Boy, that we love. We save the bets for last here on the Brotherhood of the Bengal. The Cincinnati Redlegs are 4 games out in the loss column, but there's a whole lot between them and Arizona. 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. Cardinals are falling. Pittsburgh's falling. Then you got Miami, San Diego, who's playing well, and Arizona. They did zilch at the trade deadline. I saw a tweet from a local guy. Mo Egger was really pissed, and I agree with him. And I saw another tweet where a guy said they are a worse run organization than the Cleveland Browns. The thing is, I'm sure the clubhouse liked it, and I'm sure Tito liked it. And you got the looming strike, which we talked about with Skinny. But to me, man, the chances, like 4 games out in the loss column is not that much as many games they got left, but you got so many teams in between.
And what are those teams doing now?
Yeah, Pittsburgh and St. Louis are struggling, but Arizona's playing pretty well. We'll see. San Diego's a solid baseball club, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough to get in, but I think they believe in themselves right now, and they're playing pretty well. So I think you're not seeing – I think you're short-sighted by doing that, though. I'm sure the team liked it. Fans may even like it. It's debatable. But for the long-term success of the team, those contract guys that are out, and maybe even Hunter, I think I would have moved him. You?
I don't think I'd have moved Hunter. No.
You wouldn't have? He just always hurt, man.
He's always hurt. I mean, but if you take his contract compared to other pitchers' contract, it's – I mean, if he can again, if he can stay healthy, I think he can put it together. But, I mean –
I hope so.
I know his contract wasn't, I mean, he's making millions.
It's a big deal for the Reds, but in the grand scheme of baseball, it's not.
Right.
I think, to me, you can't trade everybody. So everybody wants a full rebuild, and you get all these prospects. But what are the chances these guys develop? They obviously don't.
Right.
Because you look at the Reds, Marte, and all these guys that you thought were going to be, I thought were going to be big time. Matt McClain, they're just not doing it, right? Sal's a player. He was at camp. I didn't see him, but he was there.
Yeah. Seen him there.
So you got Sal, Ellie, and then Burns. They've got the pieces there. They just don't have the fundamental baseball players to get on base, and the bullpen's killing them. Pagan's actually pitching pretty well now that he's back from injury. So I've been watching a good bit of him late innings, but I just don't see him making it. Do you?
No, I don't either.
And I think they should have made more moves,
Yeah.
Especially the guys. I mean, you say, well, what could you get out of a guy that's expiring contract? Well, if some 19-year-old has a little bit of hope, it's better than when he walks 3 months from now and you get nothing out of him.
Yeah.
But they may believe, they keep saying let's make it weird, right? The players do. Like, they believe they're in it. I hope they are.
I mean, technically they are.
They kind of are.
I don't think they are.
4 games under.
I mean, if I was on the team, I'm absolutely – I mean, hell, what else you got to play for it?
They're playing well right now.
You got to come to the ballpark every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you might as well put it all out there on the field, right?
Yep. They got lucky. You make your own luck, though. You hang around in games. They got lucky last night against the A's, but how many bad luck games have they lost, right? So, if the bullpen would stayed healthy and pitched pretty well, they're right. They are right in. Then they're in the division even, right? So, I don't know. I love Tito. You just don't know how many more years he's got in him, right? Hopefully another one, but, probably a strike year next year. That's the other piece of that, right? If you could trade those guys, get minor leaguers that could develop next year, good chance you're not even playing. You come back in 28, you got, probably a better roster, but who knows? But the Reds will be redding, right? They're never going to be aggressive. They're just like the Bengals when it comes to that. They're rarely ever going to be aggressive. So, all right, you ready for the bets, my friend? So here's some of the preseason bets I posted on rarebreedscouting.com. Check it out. It's on the front page. The NFL, I got the Bengals win the Super Bowl. You'll get around plus 2,000. Bengals win the AFC North. I did Richard Skinner. I even gave him credit on there. Look at that. Courtesy of Richard Skinner. See there? That's nice of me. Bengals over the Lions in the Super Bowl plus 17,500. I win like $13,000 if that happens, dude. I'm pulling for both teams.
Yeah, they're crap.
Let's go. Cowboys plus 190 to win FC East. I like that. Bengals 11 plus wins plus 115. I'll stop out of this and get your thoughts on this section. We'll go more. Patriots plus 150 to win the AFC East. Your thoughts on those?
Yeah, the plus 170 to win the North. I like that bet. I mean, you got a pretty good shot. I mean, because we've talked about it. We don't know what Pittsburgh's going to be. We pretty much think what Cleveland's going to be. So
first year coaching Baltimore.
Yeah. So the 11, I don't like that number for 11 because I think it's minus 115 for 9.5. You would think you get a little bit better odds for over 11, but I mean you're still plus odds, right? So I like that one. Of course, that Bengals Lions. I mean that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean that would be. I mean that's almost lottery like, right?
Yeah, a couple
of things that's got to happen.
Yeah,
for that to happen.
To pick one team in the Super Bowl is hard enough,
right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Hence the odds.
Fun though. Fun.
Yeah. Saints to make the playoffs plus 180 in that division. Titans to make the playoffs. Do I believe it? I'm not sure, but plus 340. Think about that division. Houston's a good team, but Stroud's shaky. The Colts, are they a good team? I don't know, man. Who knows what Daniel Jones is going to do, right? Jacksonville, I don't know about Jacksonville. I think they're a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
So you got Saleh, Dayball, and Ward year 2. Just to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Wild card,
Yeah.
right? It's not to win a division. Joe Burrow MVP plus 900.
I love that.
Most rushing TDs. I went on a flyer here. Marion Hampton for LA, plus 1,500. They get down there. What's Harbaugh do that most teams don't? He's going to run the ball, right? Most rushing yards, Bijan plus 650. That's a good one.
That is a pretty good one.
Especially with Stefanski there.
What his scrimmage yards are, though? Or total yards?
Yeah. Most receiving TDs, Justin Jefferson plus 2,500 with Kyler Murray throwing bombs. That might be my favorite bet I made. Think about that. I don't think Minnesota's going to be good, but I think if Murray wins that quarterback, I went to bet on him on his yards, but Vegas agrees with me. Kyler Murray, I thought that would be like, they're going to put him like plus 3,000 would be, it's not. Even plus 4,000, it's not a good bet. They believe he's going to throw a lot of yards too if he wins the job, right? And then most tight end receiving yards, Brock Bauer plus 380 with Cousins and Mendoza. You like those?
I like that. I like that one. Yeah, I like that one for sure.
Week 1 bets early. Chicago Bears minus 2.5 at Carolina. Atlanta plus 3 versus Pittsburgh. Tua, Minnesota plus 1, the aforementioned. That's at Minnesota. Tennessee, I mentioned them, minus 2.5 versus the Jets.
Yeah.
I like that one. Buffalo minus a point or minus 1.5 versus you. That's a tough one. Bengals minus 3.5 versus the Buccaneers, and the Washington Commander Skins plus 4.5 versus the Eagles. It's a division game
on the road.
Daniels is back.
Yeah.
Switching to college. Ohio State plus 675 to win a national championship. USC plus 250 to make the playoffs. I like that one. This one's a tricky one. If they threw in the bowl game, I felt this is regular season wins, not the bowl game. But Oklahoma State 10 plus wins. Your boys plus 650. That core, I'm telling you, man, all that coach does is win football games. And the Big 12 is not very good.
Right.
All he does is win football games, and he's got a potential first-round quarterback on his roster. What does that smell to me?
Yeah.
Come out of nowhere. We'll see. North Carolina, Bill Belichick, 6 plus wins, plus 130. Heisman, Julian Sayin, plus 1,100. And the Ohio State University, plus 1.5 versus Teja in Austin, week 2. Julian Sayin, Arch Manning, Jeremiah Smith, whatever that receiver's name is, Texas, who's going to be a first-round pick, and their left tackle. That's a battle,
yeah, it's a battle,
boys and girls.
That's a battle.
What's your thoughts on them, Steve?
I think, man, I like that. I like Ohio State on the road. Ohio State, I think you said 675. I think it says 575.
Is it?
Yeah, it's 575.
Yeah, it is. Plus 575. I need some glasses on these black screens.
But I like that. I mean, if you want to throw $50 on that, that'd be a good one.
Yep.
Plus 250. I like that one for USC. North Carolina was a 6 plus 130.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Sure,
it's not. He's
though?
gone. He's gone if he doesn't. Lombardi's gone.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Pretty good bet, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see. So the USC quarterback, I'm changing all the draft. I'm doing a compare contrast on all the quarterbacks, including CJ Carr for Rare Breed Scouting. It'll be up in probably a week or so. I'm going a little more exhaustive this year on the draft because I'm getting started earlier. So I'm comparing them all. Got a nice, cool spreadsheet out. But I'm telling you, what all the yelling and screaming. I feel like we got people yodeling around here. I think I like Arch Manning as the number 1 quarterback. But that USC quarterback, dude, he's like a 6'4", 6'5" Mahomes type guy the way he throws the ball. With Lincoln Riley, tough conference, but the Big Ten is going to be so good they'll get multiple teams in, of course. Penn State's probably going to be a little down with Campbell first year. I think he'll win there. Obviously Ohio State's tough. Oregon's tough always. But I think Lincoln Riley's going to get him to the playoffs. And I think that kid could even win the Heisman, honestly. He's a player. He might be the number 1 pick next year. What do you think of that? He might be.
Might be.
You're going to have one of the most generational receivers of all time coming out, Jeremiah Smith. Highest rated. If he's healthy this year and does what everyone thinks he will, which he will, he'll be probably the highest rated receiver coming in the draft. Ages. and he won't go number one. If this class is what it looks like to be, he will not go number one.
Well, hopefully all them players will be pushed down to 32.
32, that's right. Now you're talking with the 32nd pick, the defending champion. Since then, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
It could happen.
Select Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver.
He's going to go top 10, but that draft next year. Woo, doggies. All righty, Stevie boy, you got anything else you want to add, my friend, on this 34 edition? Not 34 degrees, thankfully.
Thankfully. No, it's fun actually talking football, talking X's and O's.
That's right.
It's a good time of the year. I mean, everybody's going to the Super Bowl. Everybody's
happy.
Everybody's happy until they see their team play the first quarter.
Yeah, week one they won't be happy, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great time of year. Can't wait.
Yep. Take us home, Stevie boy.
Also, traffic, stay to the right. Peace out, guys.